first year of your cash-based medical practice is probably the toughest because there's a lot of doubt. There are a lot of successes, but there are just as many hurdles. And navigating that, especially alone, can be overwhelming. You have to learn how to hire the right people, how to delegate tasks, how to manage your own social life, how to not overemphasize certain things. It can get overwhelming. So in this video, I'm going to talk about 5 things that I think a lot of us deal with in the first year of building your own cash-based medical practice, whether virtual or in person. For me, the first thing is the motivation. So this is going to be part of the challenges. Sometimes it's hard to motivate yourself to sit down and figure out your mission, your vision, these kind of pesky things that you don't think you need. But as soon as you start marketing and advertising and talking to patients, you realize if you don't have that down, nobody really understands what it is you're selling. And the motivation can sometimes come from some successes, but in the beginning, there is no success. You're not getting patients. And the other day, I had somebody comment on one of my videos, like, how many patients did you see in the first year? Not a lot, because I really didn't know who I was marketing to and how to find the right patients. And of course, the second one is time. I think while motivation can sometimes be overcome by just being persistent and putting in a little bit of work every day, how do you find the time to put in that work every single day? Many of us start our own cash-based practice on the side, which I think is totally fine, but there's many other ways of doing it. You could take out a business loan for the first year, you sit there, you're comfortable, you know you have some money in the bank, and chances are that you're going to be successful enough that you can pay back that loan. Worst case scenario, you fall back on your medical career. But finding the time to put in every single day doing the things that you need to do, especially once those things pile up, can be challenging. I remember specifically, I had so many really good urgent care opportunities where they just gave me a lot of shifts, really easy shifts overlapping with other physicians. And I'm like, this is easy money. Why don't I just take this money right now? And I couldn't say no. And then I started realizing that a lot of things were falling behind. I wasn't putting in as much effort with the marketing. I wasn't trying to find patients. I wasn't trying to market my social media platform. And so all of a sudden, the things that I should have gotten done in 1 week took probably about 3 months to complete, and I lost a lot of my drive and motivation to keep going. I think the last thing in this kind of challenge section of this would be the logistics. Like, how do you figure out all of these moving parts? Like, how do I get my legal document? How do I make sure that some attorney signs off on it? Do I need an attorney to sign off on it? When do I get my malpractice? Okay, like they're asking me, like, how many patients will you see? What kind of patients will you see? I don't know that yet, right? Like, those are still things that I'm trying to figure out in my practice. And so these logistics start wearing you down. I remember here in Long Beach when I wanted to register my virtual medical practice, I learned that you have to register your even virtual business to a specific address and then pay taxes on that address. And I was like, wait, how do I even do that? There was nobody telling me how to do it. So took some time, took some things to figure it out, but it's the logistics that make you kind of freeze, and instead of moving forward, you just get caught up thinking about them. So we talked about the challenges. The next thing I want to talk about is all the rewards that are there, right? I mean, we have rewards there as well. You have the successes because you get somebody signing up with your practice. You have the purpose. You get a sense of purpose when you see some sort of result in a patient. So whether you're having cash-based patients see you physically, which is sort of nice when a few people come in and then they spread the word and somebody comes in and says, oh yeah, my niece recommended you, and I would love to see what you're like. It could also be a success because you feel like you accomplished something big. Like, man, I built that website, or I finally learned how to delegate this social media to somebody really good. For me, those are big successes because while building a social media platform or building a website is not that difficult for me now that I've done it so many times with different businesses, delegating was very scary, and hiring my first full-time person now has given me a huge sense of accomplishment. I also feel a sense of reward when I get purpose met. For example, for me, it was big that I don't want to practice medicine in this insurance-based model. So the more I'm spending time on building the practice, that first year, just seeing it come to life, seeing some people coming in and talking to me and wanting my help, money coming in, creating a course, creating an ebook, any of this stuff that might be little, but it's kind of this sense of accomplishment. It fuels that sense of purpose. It helps me feel less worried about the challenges and look kind of ahead to the rewards that are to come. So now we got challenges, we got rewards, and now building the client base. Okay, so everybody's going to go through challenges. Everybody's going to have some small wins that you can celebrate, but building that initial client base is incredibly difficult. One way to think about it, if you have a physical cash-based practice, if you're in some industrial area where nobody can see, marketing is huge. Getting your name out there, letting all the other clinics, all the other nearby churches and barbershops and everybody know that you're there is very powerful. Of course, you're going to save a lot of money by being in that industrial space, but it's going to require more effort. So finding that initial client base can be hard, and finding the right client base can be hard. If you're on Main Street and you're facing the main highway and everybody driving by sees your name, Dr. Ashori, Dr. Ashori, Dr. Ashori, after a while, they're going to be like, oh, it says walk-in clinic. Let me just walk in there, right? And that's the purpose of having signage. It's repetition. The more times somebody hears about you and about your brand, the more likely it is that they're going to be like, well, maybe I should just give this guy a try. And still, even if you get those people coming in, are they the right people? And part of building the right client base is to make sure that you don't grow too quickly. Pretty much everybody that I've talked to wants to grow as quickly as possible. So the main question is, how can I make sure that this medical practice, this cash-based practice that I'm building is making that $300,000 that I'm used to at Kaiser Permanente? But when you think about it, do you need that $300,000, the $350,000 that you used to make at Kaiser Permanente? When you were at Kaiser, somebody else dictated what you had to do, when you had to show up to work. You maybe didn't have a big sense of accomplishment. You didn't have a big sense of fulfillment. But now that you have your own cash-based practice, there is this connection, this peace, this joy maybe that you have. Hopefully, you're building the kind of practice that you like. You're doing the kind of things for patients that you like. And if you do it long enough, you'll probably think of other income-generating options with the practice that's not just you going in and seeing a patient. It could be bringing a physician assistant, nurse practitioner. It could be having some health coaches who do some other stuff on the side. It could be selling the patient an ebook or online course, something that's going to help them, creating group coaching lessons that you do. So many things, so many ways that we as physicians can make money in a cash-based practice, learning from how other people are running their businesses instead of focusing on the old style of like, okay, you come in, I see you, and then I charge your insurance, right? That's an outdated method. The last thing I'll say about building a client base, you need to get your message clear and out there. The message has to be super, super clear. If you don't know what it is you're really selling, to whom you're selling it to, what they should expect by the end of that interaction, you're gonna flounder when somebody says, oh, cool, hey, yeah, what do you do? I have this cash-based walk-in thing where you walk in and I help you. Oh, so like chest pains and heart attack. No, we don't do that. We kind of do like simple stuff like rashes. Oh, so like you don't do you refill birth control? Oh yeah, we do that. Oh, okay, so if somebody's like having like vaginal bleeding, you do that? No, we don't do that because they could be dude, what are you doing? So if you do it long enough, if you spend enough time and focus on it, you'll be your same-day clinic for all your low acuity needs, right? Something like that. That's your mission, your vision, your goal. And if you can write that out, if you can just get that through to yourself, anybody coming into your door will know exactly what you do, what you don't do. It'll be clear in your social media messages, in your marketing content. It's going to make it much easier for people to connect with you and find you. The next tough thing, believe it or not, is figuring out your pricing models. Yes, you can build a cash-based clinic that's walk-in, where you're just charging somebody $50 per visit, no matter what, $50, everything else included, right? But you may want to have an upsell. Maybe you want to have 3 different pricing models. Maybe you want to take somebody on and do ongoing training, coaching, direct primary care, whatever you want to do. Maybe you want to sell them a package. All these things are pricing models that you need to figure out. And you're not going to know that in the beginning. Believe me, you think you will know it, but you won't. You can probably, with the help of someone, you can really get a good sense of how much to charge that's going to be fair, but you'll constantly have to reiterate it. For my own medical practice, I started out with just $50, $75, $169. Then I did the monthly coaching, $250, $500, $400. I just kept experimenting and trying to see where people had some hesitation. And I think the hesitation was never about pricing, to be honest. As you can imagine, especially here in California, nobody's really that poor that they can't come and see me for those price ranges. They may not want to pay that much, but most people here have phones that are quite comparable. They have expensive stuff. The point is the money is there, but that may not be their priority, or that may not be where they want to spend their money. The problem for me was I wasn't able to get my message across. I wasn't clear about what I was offering. I wasn't defining my niche well enough. Last thing I'll say about pricing models, I've talked about having 3 different price points and 3 different pricing models, meaning you can have 3 different price points where somebody can come in and say, oh, I could do this, or I could do that, or like, yeah, that's really too high. Often the very high price is a way to kind of anchor someone into the middle price range. So you're not really trying to sell the $10,000 a month concierge package. You really are saying, hey, 1,000 or 3,000 and 10,000. And they're like, oh, I should probably go for the 3,000. That's just the way the mind works. And having price models means here's a membership model, here is a one-off model, here's a second opinion model. Having these different things can give you some flexibility to see what people are interested in. The last thing on this list, number 5, is having a realistic growth expectation. For me, I was comfortable giving it about 5 years for things to grow. The problem was I started kind of like burning out from it. I was like, I'm putting in all this effort and nothing's happening. Well, I was putting in effort, but I was putting in effort in small bursts. And I was putting it in small bursts, but I wasn't doing anything afterwards to kind of get me excited for the next burst. But I wasn't putting in consistent amount of time. If I was putting in consistent amount of time every day, I don't think 5 years is realistic. Maybe 1 year, 2 years is more realistic. And when I talk about growth, I mean, you're measuring how many patients are coming to you, how many of these patients you're converting to somebody who's willing to pay you money. Of these people who are paying you money, how much of that money is kind of profitable? How much money are you spending on other stuff? For me, my growth initially was, okay, I'm going to get this many clients. Okay, then I did get that many clients. The problem was also my spending increased. So I had to bring another website guy. I had to pay the social media person, and I had to pay for the advertisement, and I had to pay for the communication software, the electronic health record, the Calendly thing that I wanted. All of that started kind of adding up, and so the money that was coming in was like, oh man, am I just breaking even, putting in all this effort? But that's going to happen, right? So you're going to maybe get a big burst, and then you're going to go kind of steady for a while, then you're going to get a big burst. You might get a dip, but it'll just keep going. If you're putting in the same amount of effort, if you're refining all the options that you're giving to people, they'll know what you're about. They'll come to you. Other people will refer to you. So those are the 5 things. I hope it's helpful. I hope it gives you an idea of what to expect in that first year of your medical practice. If you have any comments, leave them below. Tell me what things you're most worried about when it comes to launching your cash-based practice, whether virtual or in person. I have a couple of really good articles that I think will be of value to you if you're considering a cash-based model, whether in a specialty, some niche in primary care, or just pure primary care. Check out digitalnomadphysicians.com for those articles. Type in cash pay, and you'll find some really good articles, I think. I've had great comments on them. There's really good interaction, and I hope it gives you some ideas as to how to start your own practice. Take care, guys.